Here's Rowan.
Okay, we got Rowan here, yeah.
Call the workshop for the final shop at 6.
Okay.
I call the North Plains Planning Commission for January the 10th to order at 7 o'clock. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please get the roll call
Thank you. Chair King,
here.
Commissioner House,
Here.
Commissioner Ken Odell,
Here.
Commissioner Van Domelen,
Here.
and Commissioners Levante and Miller are excused. Ex officio, Counselor Cameron Martinez. I do not see, and I did not hear from her.
Item number 4 is public comments. This time is set for anyone on Zoom or in the audience for any commission business that is not on the agenda. One on Zoom.
No one's on, that's staff on Zoom, and I did not receive anything prior to the meeting tonight.
Show that there are no public comments. Okay, item number 5 is the approval of the minutes for December the 13th. Everyone reviewed them? Any changes? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to accept the minutes for December 13th, planning commission meeting as written. Aye.
Are you seconding?
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Hout, second by Commissioner Van Domelen for approval of the December 13th minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, minutes are approved. I'm gonna switch this around. It says item 6, new business, but I'm gonna make item 6 unfinished business. So do we, does the planning commission have any unfinished business?
Unfinished business. Right now, Chair King, there is no unfinished business, since we have wrapped up the sign code amendments. So I really don't have any unfinished business for you at this time.
Great. Anything from any of the commissioners? Okay. So then we'll move on to now new item number 7 is new business. We have application for the planning commission vacancy. Just to recap, a couple, at least one wasn't here, but we had a gentleman show up at the December meeting because he wasn't going to be able to make it this meeting. And so we have another application here present. So this is the decision on, this will be a recommendation to the city council, but we can take this by reviewing both the application and deciding, or we can wait until the other applicants present, since we didn't interview them because we couldn't, because the position hadn't been noticed as being vacant.
The notice period had not run its full
Yeah.
course yet,
So
correct?
we didn't really interview, we just let him introduce himself.
Yeah, I believe what happened in December was more of just an introduction by Andreas to the planning commission, since he wouldn't be able to attend this meeting. But we can certainly call him back in February if you would like to do a formal interview at that time, now that the noticing is completed.
Okay, and we'll let the commission decide that as we go, but Mr. Parra?
Yes.
All right.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Ignacio Parra, Nickel resident. I applied to volunteer to install city growth and development. And during previous workshops, the city of Hillsborough with my wife, Joanna Parra, was now part of the brand. And so I really feel I can bring a lot to this position. my experience with that, I worked about 27.5 years for a consulting firm. I review and design plans, standards for multiple clients, so that's what I heard. And more than help to help with.
Any questions for the applicant? Oh, okay. I know that, you've listed some things here, but tell us what you think some of the bigger concerns of what's going on in North Plains right now that you would like to help them.
I've lived in big cities. I grew up in Southern California, the Bakersfield, California. I've seen small cities grow, sometimes without people's voice, being told grow the right way. So I've seen, and working in an engineering consulting firm, I get paid to design options and review good options for the community to provide input. So I'm very passionate about that. I like to think outside the box. To keep involved, so that keeps me very busy.
Yeah, one of the things I think we find is that you mentioned that people don't have a voice, but sort of that's kind of what we are, is the voice that's being appointed from the elected officials. But just to, people come and say, well, we want it this way, and we think, and what we do is we follow staff recommendations generally, unless we can show where it doesn't apply or something, or doesn't meet the criteria. But sometimes people look at us and say, well, you're not doing what we say. And so you got to have a little bit of thick skin to be up here sometimes.
Yeah, so we plan to communities not educated, and so workshops help a lot. To let them know that the standards and regulations are not what they want. And guidance.
Well, we definitely appreciate your application. I will let the rest of the commission decide whether you want to make a decision on the two applicants for the one vacant position, but do we want to wait until next meeting in February to make this decision? So we have two of the commissioners who weren't here. Yeah, so I think we should hold until then. I think to be fair. To be fair, okay. You'll be able to come back next. That is on February 14th. What happened in Valentine's?
Hey, it doesn't affect me any, so I don't care.
If you can come back.
You, I don't have to go to dinner.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
I'll be sticking around.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I've had meetings on my birthday.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
last one was my birthday.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, we will move on to item number 8 is the land use applications and the city project monthly report. Any updates on that?
At this time, Chair King, we do not have any current land use applications submitted. We are anticipating getting an application from Lennar for a minor lot line adjustment.
What I'm doing is I'm doing item number 8
8.
right now, the stuff that's listed in our package.
Yeah, unless you have questions on something, I don't have anything for you.
I wanted to cover that first, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, does the commission have any comments on any of the things listed? Questions? Okay. And then item B is the planning commission business calendar, pretty straightforward. Donna. Okay. So, and then we'll get into item 9, it's the planning commission comments. So I'll let you continue on where you were talking about the upcoming application.
Okay, yeah, I got a few things for you, so I can share that, and then I can get into some other stuff and staff comments there when we're done. But we are anticipating some applications coming in. One for Lennar to tweak a few lots. They got to move a lot line 1 foot up because they're too skinny for their townhome products. It just somehow when it got platted in phase 3, I think they oversighted that. And, so now they're coming back to fix that. So it's, a total of 8 lots that have to get shifted up 1 foot. That won't come here. That is the type 2 application. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with Space Age. We think they're stuck with CWS right now, because they're not going to be able to probably address some of their stormwater issues with the additional 6 pumps they'd like to add. So I'm guessing they're going to shrink it down a little bit. We also have concerns with the transportation in and out of that site once they get it set up, because they really want to serve bigger trucks. They want to try and take on some of the diesel trucks, and it's so tight in there that it could really back traffic out onto Glencoe if it's not really working good. So we do have some concerns with this project.
I would think ODOT will too.
I think the county will, yeah, absolutely, with Glencoe. And then 7-Eleven is still negotiating with Chevron to try and take over that convenience store. They just haven't reached an agreement yet on how to do that. G4 is looking at bringing some additional food carts in on some of their property where that gray house is. That is all on one big lot. It looks like they consolidated a bunch of lots into one big lot. So they want to take down that home and create a food cart area there. I informed them that we already have something going on at the corner of Glencoe and Commercial Street. They might want to reach out to that, to Kent Richards there to see what his plans are, so that we're not, I don't know if we can support too many food carts. 4, I don't know if there's 4 too many, or can we do 10? I don't know. So they also said they want to buy that corner house there, that blue house that's been abandoned for a long time. So the G4 folks have been communicating with me a little bit on some of their plans, but everything's speculative right now. And then I also anticipate a potential application coming in sooner than later for that property west of McDonald's there, in between the Veterans Park and McDonald's. The owner of Global Electric purchased that and would like to put a car wash in there. And I think he's just working through some of his due diligence right now. But Andy's had some conversations with him, and it sounds like that's still his plan. So I think those are going to be some of the applications we might see in the next few months.
Question?
Maybe concerned, I don't know, food carts, big rigs, Glencoe is not going to be able to handle that.
Well, we won't give, they won't get access from Glencoe to that property. They will be required to use the Highland access that they currently have. But the cars would back up or front onto Glencoe. So
It's a nightmare right now to get out of
Yeah,
it.
getting across.
It's only going to get worse. So I don't-
like I said, it's preliminary. They asked me how to get started. I said, sketch something up and send it and let me take a look. So they're at the drawing board right now.
What's going to be bad is when ODOT says something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna,
Yeah.
Yeah. Someday we'll probably get a traffic light, but I don't think it's going to be there.
no,
Maybe further back at Pacific or something.
it's too close to the
Yeah, it's too-
interchange.
yeah.
Close to a roundabout.
Yeah, it's just a horrible area. I mean, you got the stoplight there, and then you got McDonald's across the street.
Okay, so, any other concerns for staff questions? None? Since we don't have the city council representative here, we'll skip item 10. And we've already covered staff comments. So is there any other planning commission business?
I do have a lot more comments for you.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do staff comments.
Yeah. So I want to let you know that we've been working on a planning commission handbook, especially since we're going to be having some new planning commissioners joining.
Used to.
And so we got it pretty close to being done right now. It's going to be kind of 3 separate documents. You'll have the handbook, which is kind of a broad overview of what planning commission does, and just kind of provides some insight on how to do the position. So kind of think of this as being for a brand new member. But you guys will also get it, so you might find something in there that's valuable as well. And then there's 2 other documents, one that's created by League of Oregon Cities and one by DLCD, is again more background on the Oregon Planning Program for people that don't have that background. I didn't want to compress it all into one document and give you guys a 150-page document. So I'm just going to give it to you in 3 separate documents, and you can decide what you want to read. But please look at the handbook when it comes to you. I think that's probably going to go out next week. Rowan, our rare volunteers helped me with it. Rowan does a great job with formatting and catches some of my things that I can't see with my older eyes. So really appreciate all of Rowan's help getting this put together, and I think you guys will really like it. When it comes to new business, one of the things we're talking about right now is we want to keep you guys busy. We don't want to have these type of meetings that just go for 2 minutes and we don't have any land use applications for you to look at. So I think what Andy and I are going to try and set up is a joint PC City Council meeting to talk about their goals, their land use goals for 2024, what they would like the PC to take on, and have you guys kind of communicate on those things, and let's find some common ground on some things that we can all tackle together and move the city forward with. Whether it's, overhauling the whole land use code, or it's looking into overlay zones, or it's whatever the case may be. We thought it would be good to have both of those bodies come together to discuss that, so we can start having a little bit better direction on some of these things that we can be working on while we're waiting for some new land use applications to come in. One program that we are working on at the city that some of you may have heard about is a Ready Build ADU program. So some other cities in the state have assembled some plans for a 600 square foot ADU, or accessory dwelling unit, and they become a master plan. So the building departments have reviewed them. They've made reference that they comply with all the building codes, and now Eugene, Salem, and Springfield offer these plans free to the public. That's been a big hurdle for a lot of property owners who might want to do an ADU, is hiring an architect to prepare the whole plan set. So we think that'll be a real asset for folks here in North Plains to have a free plan set that they can grab off of our website to build an ADU here in the city. So we've been working with the county, Springfield, Eugene, and Salem, just to understand how they did it. And we're moving pretty quickly on this. So I anticipate that we're going to have something for you to look at here in the next month. We would like to bring in for a work session, a presentation for you to see what we're doing. So you can get a better understanding of what the program will entail. And the other thing we're going to do is send out a request for proposal to try and get some other architects to submit plans to us that can be purchased for $500. So we'll have a free plan set, and we're hoping to get 5 or 6 other designs. And we'll just put their information on our website, and people can go work with them and purchase their plans from them. So just trying to create this robust ADU program to try and get some additional infill housing in the city to kind of offset the lack of housing that we have right now as we wait for the UGB process to unfold. So really exciting with that. Another thing that we probably will talk about when we get into that joint discussion with the city council is the downtown improvement plan, which was approved, portions of it last year. And we've talked about this before, but trying to identify where we should have the downtown core. And where should we rezone properties to C1? So we have, a consistent zoning district that matches up to the downtown improvement plan for the city to grow into over the next, 20 years in the downtown core. One thing we think is that block that's between 313th and 311th on the south side of Commercial could be rezoned to C1. And that would develop over time. We would want to rezone the city's property to C1. We would want to rezone the yellow house and the red house to C1, the community garden to C1, the post office to C1. And then we would have a whole downtown that's consistent, and we would know how that's going to develop then over time. So that's one thing we would like to talk about with you folks and the city council to see if there's energy for that. To move that forward. We'd also like to use our rare volunteer on some of the outreach on that. So that's why we're trying to find out if we should, be doing this. One thing you guys might be interested is the Tualatin Soil, Water, and Conservation District is reserved the Jesse Mays building here for a January 28th showing of an Oregon story. And then after they're done showing that movie, they're going to sit there and discuss North Plains land use planning, aka the UGB. And so we anticipate that Thousand Friends will be there. Some of the folks who are opposed to the UGB, and we think it would be a great idea to have community members at that were participated in the PAC, that participated in the Planning Commission, and otherwise to maybe provide some of their insight during that conversation, so they have a better understanding, the audience does, of what happened. But I'm not so certain city staff is going to attend that. I'm kind of working with Andy on that, if we're going to be a face there or not. But I wanted to bring that to your attention. So again, that's on January 28th.
2 to 4. Here, it's on the calendar.
Is it?
Yes.
Um,
Here. It's just as a basic.
And the last thing I wanted to raise with the Planning Commission is to see if there's any consideration of starting our meetings at 6:30 as opposed to 7. I know that could potentially mean that if we have a work session, that would have to start at 5:30. We could work around that a little bit too. Maybe if we have a work session, we just do the 6 and 7. It would benefit. I guess I'm saying this mainly for myself.
No.
I think it would just, if it doesn't, run into anybody's, conflict with anybody's schedule, it would be great to start a little bit earlier.
The Tualatin Valley is 3 to 5 on the 28th.
3 to 5 on the 28th. Thank you.
Mhm.
And that's a Sunday, just so you know. So
I think it's not.
No, it's a Sunday.
it says Sunday
Yeah,
on
Sunday
here
the
on the
28th.
calendar.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make a decision on the 6:30 timeframe tonight. But if you wouldn't mind thinking about it, and maybe we can chat about it a little bit more at the next meeting, that would be great.
I don't know how much to pay it. Nice. I'm hoping.
And that is all I have.
Just comment back, Planning Commission booklet, when I started, they gave us the binder, but it had the comp plan and the zoning. But that's back when you used paper for everything instead of, because it wasn't digital. So you have one of those. ADUs, you talked about 600 feet.
The plans that we're working on are 600 square feet.
ADUs in our zone is anything smaller than the primary.
The way the code is written right now is an ADU can be anything smaller than the current home.
You turn the current home into an ADU and then make a big home.
That's absolutely correct. And an option in a scenario like that, where you have a small home and a larger lot, you could use the existing home as your ADU and build a new home that's larger than the existing home and make the existing home the ADU. But for folks who don't have anything, we feel 600, from what we've seen, 600 square feet provides enough space for a bedroom, a nice bathroom, and eating and living space. So we're hoping that this will be a size that fits on a lot of lots around town.
Your comments about the C1 zone. Be nice to get the property on the north side east of 311 to turn to C1 like we tried to do at one time. I doubt that's going to happen, but comments as far as City Hall and those were C1 changed to the institutional use, so which I suggested they should be overlays and not zones themselves. So yeah, that's surprising. So,
Well, the institutional uses are allowed in the C1 zone as a permitted use. So it wouldn't.
They were C1 before they became institutional.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Thank you for the history there.
And I guess the only comment on the 6:30 start is that if we're starting early, why don't we start at 6?
I'm fine with that too.
Put any workshops after that.
But that's also fine. It's a little challenging. It would the workshop after the fact could be a little challenging on days where we have a full agenda, was all.
And that's how you determine if you're going
Yeah.
to.
So, that
Plus,
could,
it'll determine the length of the workshop. Instead of coming to a workshop, let's say at 5:30 and here for half an hour, and then stand around and gap for a while.
Yeah, well, if we went to 6, then, you know, if we wanted to do it before, we would certainly try and give you an hour. So we'd have to try and do it at 5. But to your point, we could also do it on the back end. We could also do it on the
That's
back end,
what I was suggesting, back in, that way.
which is fine. I'm fine with either one of those.
Okay,
And if we
maybe
have
just
a,
consider, if we're considering 6:30, there's other things to consider.
yeah,
I mean, This
absolutely.
is not something that city council is considering, they're still at 7.
As far as,
Board is at 6 o'clock.
And the
so it's
economic
not-
development is at
it's
6.
o'clock.
Yeah.
yes. Andy and I chatted about it. He said, you know, if you want to talk to him about starting earlier, he's fine with that, but he didn't anticipate the council would change their time frame.
So what I would suggest is to send out a notice to the commissioners, because obviously 2 of them not being present, so they can start considering those options too. But there may be, you know, work conflicts or something.
Yeah, so I'll send out an email to everyone, letting them know that we
Yeah,
talked about this.
Yeah, and if you can't do it, then let us know.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll see the email responses because they're going to include everybody. What you'll see though is, you know, the reason we blind CC everybody is so there's not a quorum, right? And so we only include you,
Sure.
and you see Lori and myself, but we don't show everybody else.
I sent the email to you guys and I blind copied you and Stuart replied back, just checking to make sure you sent it to the PC members. Said, I sure did, blind copy them so we don't have a quorum.
So you don't
On
have
the
a quorum.
response, on the replies.
But when you respond, just reply all, and the other folks will see your response.
Okay. Any other planning commission business? Our next regular meeting will be at on February the 14th here at 7 o'clock currently. And right now we don't have a workshop scheduled.
Right now, we do not have a work session.
So unless things change, we'll see you here at 7 o'clock on the 14th. And with that, we will adjourn at 7:26.